Hello, my name is Elena Guajardo, and my group will be presenting our lesson plan for how to handle changes during puberty. The other girls in my group include Phoebe Brown, Virginia Ramirez, Alex Sackett, and Mia Vargas, and we will be going over how we would go about teaching 5th grade students about the hormones that become prevalent during puberty, how to cope with the physical, emotional, and social changes that occur, and the importance of treating others and themselves with respect.
Students should be able to 1. Identify hormones that become prevalent during puberty in both boys and girls, as well as what these gender-specific hormones do in the body. 2. Identify what causes hormonal changes to occur and how to deal with emotions like attraction. 3. Present ideas for how to cope with physical, social, and emotional changes. 4. Demonstrate an understanding of consent and the importance of respecting themselves and others.
Okay, for this next part of our lesson plan, I'm just going to quickly go over all of the materials we're going to need for our lesson. So to start, we actually created another PowerPoint to go along with the activities that we're going to be doing as part of our lesson. And this PowerPoint is going to include the instructions for the matching game we're going to play. It's going to include the answers for that matching game, some scenarios with choices or responses for each scenario, and then lastly, a prompt for the writing assignment we're going to do. We're also going to be needing some physical cutouts of the matching game cards that we can hand out to the groups during the game, as well as a timer for the matching game. Lastly, we're just going to need a computer to pull up the slideshow, as well as a projector or a TV screen to display the slideshow. And now I'm just going to quickly give you a look at this in activities PowerPoint. So this is just a title screen, and then for each, we have a little introduction slide for the activity. We have the instruction slide with just a brief description of what the students are going to be doing during that activity. This slide right here is actually the answers for the matching game, but I'm not going to show those because that's what we're going to be doing during our live presentation. Just another introduction, some more instructions. And then these are actually our scenarios. So we have 5 different scenarios with 4 to 5 answer choices for each. So the students can read the scenario and then choose one of these answer choices. And then lastly, we have the writing assignment with the prompt, and the students are just going to get 5 to 8 minutes to write a short paragraph answering it as best as they can. And then these are just some of the resources that we use for our activities. And then as far as any other materials, this is all that we're going to provide. And then the students would just need to bring some of their usual school supplies like pens, paper, pencils, things like that, just for the writing assignment at the very end.
For our lesson plan, we have 3 different activities to assess how well the students understand the concepts being presented to them. The first activity is a matching game, where the students will be asked to match the hormones with the descriptions of what the hormones do in regards to puberty. Students will be separated into groups and given 1 minute to complete the activity before we go over the correct answers as a class. The second activity will be done all together and includes reading different scenarios that may occur during puberty as well as selecting a response to the scenario. Students will be given time to share how they would choose to respond in each scenario and why they would choose to respond that way. The last activity is a written response on how students can cope with physical, emotional, and social changes as they navigate puberty. Students will be given 5 to 8 minutes to complete a paragraph that may include coping mechanisms that we discussed in the lesson and/or their own individual ideas for how to cope with the side effects of puberty. Each activity will allow us to assess a different topic within the overarching theme of how to handle the changes of puberty and provide a way to keep the attention of our audience.
Although puberty comes at different times for everyone, it is essential to be aware of the changes puberty can cause before they occur. Each activity was designed to help educate our audience and ensure that the information we presented was gotten across. For instance, for our first activity, our goal is to help get a visualization of the different hormones that appear during puberty and how they have an effect on the body, mind, and feelings. The matching game can be used to assess what the students have learned. As for the second activity, we're trying to get the audience to be comfortable with new scenarios that they may experience during this confusing time. And running these scenarios can help us determine what students have learned and how to respond respectfully to the changes in others. Along with this, we will be talking about consent and what to say. Finally, the point of our written assignment is to have the students discuss how they can cope with physical, social, and emotional changes.
After the lecture and discussions with our audience, we will ask them to take a survey which will allow them to input their opinions on how the presentation was given, what they learned from the presentation, and if any further questions need to be answered. Allowing our audience to complete this survey will not only allow their input to be put into consideration, but we can use this as a way to evaluate ourselves as well, having knowledge on how our presentation impacted them. On the right side of the screen, there is a QR code in which students will be able to scan and take a survey. Within completing the survey, they will be asked questions such as what do they think about our presentation, what new things that they learned from seeing this presentation, and one of the last questions being, are there any further questions that need to be asked? Through answering that question, they will be able to input as many questions as they like and even things that they were curious about.